What's going on, guys? It's Eddie from Tactical Edge Trading. Just here to do our Asia nightly session. Got a few things to go over tonight. Big day tomorrow. We got FOMC. Talked about this on Sunday. Went over a few game plans, but not much has changed since then and now. What I really want to focus more on today is just some news came out today involving NVIDIA. It's been ongoing, but apparently we're shut out of the China market when it comes to AI. So Trump wants us to be the AI center of the world. So what does that mean? It means we're building some data centers, some big data centers, a lot of money going into that. I think there's a play on that. It doesn't necessarily mean we have to go invest in NVIDIA and AI companies, which that is the obvious play. But I think there's going to be some plays in the energy market. These data centers, they take a lot of energy to run. We are going to need that kind of energy if we're going to run the size of these data centers that they want and to keep these things running. So got a few charts to take a look at, a few things to look at on the crypto market, just some levels I'm going to go over tonight. Going into tomorrow, I am not in any trades right now. I actually closed everything out today, made some profits on a few things, some Ethereum short, Bitcoin short. It's a good day overall trading wise. What I will say, tomorrow's going to be a volatile day. If you are in positions going into tomorrow, you are playing a very dangerous game, especially if you're a leverage trader. Spot, maybe not so much. You just have to kind of wait for everything to blow over. But leverage traders, I would recommend probably not having positions open going into that. Kind of got to go over this. Nothing here is financial advice. This is just me speaking my opinion, talking to myself, talking to the group. A few things. If you are new here, hit the like button, subscribe if you like the content, of course. And check us out at Tactical Edge Trading. We are a trading group. We have a Discord. We do lives. We do weekly podcasts. We have educational. We teach traders how to be successful in the market. We live trade Monday through Friday in New York. We do Asia trading at night. If you're a trader, or if you're aspiring to be a trader, or if you just want to learn a little bit more about investing and how to manage money, risk management, any of those kind of things, how to navigate these markets, check us out. Links are in the bio. And if you have any questions, any coins, any stocks, any charts you want to look at, throw them in the chat. We will get to them. And I want to... Sorry, just gonna get the chat up real quick. There we go. There it is. So first and foremost, I want to talk about the S&P 500. We have been in this channel. I'm on the 4 hour. I'm gonna go to the daily to show this. We've been in this upwards channel for quite a bit of time since the summer. Nothing's really changed. We actually did have a pretty good move today. I don't know if you guys know this, but October 28th is the S&P's best performing day of the year statistically. I think on average it goes up about 0.5% on this day. Let's take a look and see what we kind of had today. So if I look at from open to close, about 0.5% from the gap up yesterday. I mean, that was overnight, but Asia kind of started it for us. About 1%, 0.5%. So, yeah, S&P is doing its thing. I don't see any reason to get bearish on this thing right now. I want to take a look a little bit deeper into it, though. One of our members, Brian Bripto, pointed out there's some CME gaps to the downside. So Given tomorrow is a volatile day in the markets, there's a chance. I mean, maybe this thing does come down and fill some of these gaps. I'm surprised it hasn't done it yet. Normally these gaps get filled pretty quickly, but you can see there is a gap from 68.45 down to about 68.09. Label that off. And we have another one right around 67.80 down to about 67.50. If we do get some weakness, wrong thing. If we do get some weakness in the market going into tomorrow, depending on what Jerome Powell says, if it's maybe not what people were expecting, or we also have earnings this week. We have earnings on Amazon, Meta, Microsoft, and what is the other one we have that's really big? Amazon. And we have Palantir coming up next week. We have Nvidia coming up in 2 weeks. We have Apple. So there's a lot of big stocks that are, a lot of big things that, and I don't know, the ones I just named, Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon, they make up about 20% of the S&P, those ones alone. So they can really move the market. So depending on how those play out, this could be something to watch. These gaps oftentimes do get filled within a few days of them coming in. It's Tuesday right now. Tomorrow will be Wednesday. The gaps were put in last week, late last week. So at some point, I do expect these to get filled, whether it's now, whether it's later. We do have a little bit of a trend line kind of running up here. I want to actually, if you kind of just take it from here, you got a little bit of a money line. It's not the greatest one. We are aftermarket right now, so anything here doesn't really matter. If I go, actually, let me show you on the USDT 5. There we go, US 500. So this is the actual futures market, so you can see what's happening. Market closed a little bit red, but we're here. We're kind of just trending up essentially. Nothing too crazy. We're still in an uptrend. Believe it or not, this actually looks a little different than the chart I just had up. But this is also a futures market, so price action will look a little different. It doesn't have, this has weekend data, has after hour data from US session. The traditional S&P doesn't. But for gaps, to show you the gaps, that's usually what I like to focus on, is that chart. So I'd be watching on the futures, I'd be watching, look, we're right up against resistance. We have a trend. If this trend breaks, you have to imagine that they're probably going to go fill those gaps I was just showing. Let's go on to the next chart. I want to go look at the NASDAQ. NASDAQ broke out of the channel. We talked about this channel a few days ago. I've just been watching this for months, honestly. We had a little bit of a breakout up. So what does that mean? Well, NASDAQ, a lot of tech stocks within NASDAQ. Nvidia, can name a few, Microsoft. Built up a lot of those tech stocks. So this is a good representation of where tech's going. Crypto follows tech for the most part. So this could be a good sign. We've had our, look, we broke the all-time high. When did we do that? We actually broke it Friday into Monday over the weekend. So this thing broke. We're now sitting outside this channel. So if we get any pullbacks tomorrow, the first place of our support I'd be looking for is probably going to be this low, right, that we just put in yesterday. So around 25,800, also the top of the channel. So the way these channels tend to work, if you break out, whether it does any type of channel, once you break out, if you get a back test and it holds, you can use that as support for the next move up. If it starts to break back in and closes, unable to get back above and gains acceptance back in, you have to imagine that's probably coming down. Probably coming back down. Maybe either test this level here, which is that 25,200, or potentially could be coming back down to test the bottom of the channel. So that's something to keep an eye on, in my opinion. What I would be weary of. Volume is kind of fading out. You can see volume's been coming down through this push. It's not usually what you want to see when you're moving up. So I think it's not the time to ape into this. I think that's long gone. I think you wait for your opportunities, you wait for your pullbacks, you wait for your bounces. So this will be one to watch into the next few days. Let's get back to my charts. I'm not really going to go over Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon. Went over those the other day. If you want to see that, actually, just check out my video on Sunday. I went into a pretty good analysis on those. What I will talk about, I'm kind of excited to talk about this stuff. So what I was talking about earlier, NVIDIA, I'm going to show you this article. NVIDIA will build AI supercomputers for U.S. Energy Department, wants to get back into China. The wording on that kind of is weird. Essentially, here's what's happening. We are competing with China now for the AI space. And knowing Trump wants us to be number one. So what does that mean? Well, we're gonna build these centers, these AI data centers, and they take a lot of energy to run. And what does that mean? Well, it means that energy costs are probably going to go up. Energy demand is going to go up because that's just how that works. So if demand goes up, then cost will go up. That's great if you're an investor in some of these companies, some of these energy companies. So I kind of want to take a look at a few. Maybe there's some we can probably catch early. Maybe there's some moves. I think there's probably going to be some potential upside for these things in the future. So it's not a bad idea to kind of, start planning now. I haven't done much research on anything I'm going to be talking about. What I would recommend is do your own research on these things. You want to figure out, how previous earnings have been. You need to know what the company does, where it's based out of. Does it have dividends? Like anything that's incentivizing, people to invest there and to own these and hold these stocks. You're looking for stocks that are going to, people want to hold long term. So the first one is Exxon. And a lot of these came through requests through the Discord. So I hadn't really looked at them too much, but I figure we can dive into them. But the first thing I noticed when I look at Exxon, I'm going to go to the weekly chart for a lot of these. Look, it's had a pretty big move since 2020. It's clearly been in a bull market. I mean, not all things have been in a bull market, but this has. And we're just ranging sideways right now. Volume is coming down, which is normal when you are in a consolidation. What you don't want to see is this start to breach this low. So I would keep an eye on this range for now. This is a weekly chart. I can show you on the daily. Just look, play the range for now. If this thing starts to break up, you look for a SR flip, support resistance flip, and this is probably where you want to get in. Otherwise, you're looking to get in at the bottom of the channel. If this thing pulls back into the bottom of the channel, you could look for a position there. What you don't want to see is this thing start to run down. If it starts to break and it fails to get back in, you have to expect it's probably coming down. So this one could be something to look at. I don't really know, look, we're in price discovery with this thing. And if you really just draw the line over here, I'm just going to get rid of some of this stuff. Let's just clear some of this out. So if you just take a trend line and run it from the highs across, I mean, we're basically bouncing off the previous all-time high. Sure, we had a deviation here, right? But we're trying to find support here. So as long as this can hold, I don't see a reason why this won't have more upside, right? So this is one to keep. The ticker is XOM. I'll throw this in the Discord later for everybody. If you're new, if you're watching this, and like I said, check us out. Tactical Edge Trading. I throw all these charts in there. Daily, we're updating it. It's not just me. It's Brian, Dunkey, and Ben. The four of us, between us four, the leaders of the group, we're always throwing charts in there. We're always giving our setups, giving our insights on the market, and we have a bunch of other killers, people that trade every day, people that We have guys that just specialize in stocks, guys that's, trade only crypto. We have we have some degens in there trading meme coins and AI agents and I don't know, robot AI coins. I'm not even sure what some of the stuff is. Anyway, we're if it has a chart, we'll trade it. So check us out. We have a free 30-day trial to our premium, but we also have a free section of Discord. It's not going to cost you anything to join. Next, I want to look at Constellation Energy Corporation. This one, not too, again, this is another one I don't really know much about. The chart just looked interesting to me. Look, it's been in a steady uptrend. I was trying to find some type of channel here. I mean, you can argue it looks like it's following the S&P and NASDAQ. We did have a little bit of a deviation here back in March. Very explainable why. This is when the tariff scares came in. Everything went down. So I consider this whole period just kind of like a black swan event. So we're just still in this channel. We are at resistance right now. So potentially this thing could be gearing up to pull back. We haven't had any higher time frame or even a 4-hour market structure shift just yet. If we start to lose this low, that would be a 4-hour shift, which would tell me that most likely it's coming back down to the bottom of the channel to retest support. So right here, not a long, probably the opposite of a long if you catch my drift there. So this is definitely something to watch. If it starts to break this channel, same thing as I just talked about with NASDAQ and S&P. It breaks the channel. You're looking for that to flip into support. Otherwise, I'd be watching for this thing to maybe break down, come back down here, and maybe try to gain some support down here. Maybe gets another shot back up there. So kind of what I'm watching for on this one. Volume doesn't look too terrible in, I guess, since September. Through the summer, from the tariffs down, I mean, the volume was horrible, right? Volume was just fading out. So this is definitely not a long at the moment. This is not probably the time to buy, but it's something to watch. I'm just trying to throw some things out there because we really don't know. Look, who knows what kind of contracts, government contracts, deals, or partnerships are going to be made in the next coming years with these AI data centers. I think the key is to keep your finger on the pulse of the market, watch this sector, and see what happens. Fluence Energy. This one's interesting to me. It seems to be newer. It's only been around since 2021. There's a few years in it, right? But see this downtrend? It's been respected since inception. It's just been kind of banging its head on it. We even almost had a false breakout, and then now we're rejecting. What I do like, the volume. The volume is kicking up. Although we haven't broken any previous highs, volume is creating new highs. That's interesting to me. We also have earnings coming up on this thing. So December 2nd, keep your eyes on this one. See what happens going into December 2nd. But if this thing breaks out, you have to imagine it's going to probably sweep all of this liquidity here. All these highs, boom, 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 just liquidity sitting above them. From maybe people shorting, people not closing positions. This is something I would watch. This thing pops, it's probably going to sweep most of this liquidity. Short may mess around, and eventually it may even make its way back up to this high here. Oftentimes when you break a trend and you break through, you sweep everything. You take everything back. So this is definitely one I would watch. The ticker is FLNC. I will throw this one in the Discord as well. So nothing here just yet, but I would watch this one. Maybe some pullbacks. There could be some potential here. Its last earning was right around here. We didn't really see too much. It was green though, so it was good earnings. So we have to imagine. And look, it pulled back and then it ran up. Just how long did it take? So earnings were back in. Let's take a look when the earnings were. Back in August, and it ran about a month later. So maybe we see a pullback into this next earning, similar to this one, and that could gear us up for a little push up. So I would keep an eye on this one. This one's going on my radar for sure. Let's get to the next chart. Nexa Era Energy. Again, this one looks pretty good too. This is an interesting one in my opinion. What's up, Rob? What's up, Rich? Said the volume's kind of low. Yeah, I wonder why that is. Let me see if I can make it a little bit better. That's probably my headset's down a little bit. I'm probably not even talking that loud. I'll try to speak up a little bit, guys. So let me know if you're still having trouble hearing me. But going back to Nexa, NEE is the ticker. I'm going to go to the weekly on this one. So this one, you can see it's got some price action on it, right? Look at this thing. It's just been up only for quite a bit of time. We had the dip during the tariff scares, all right? What is happening here? Well, I see, this is all my eyes see, maybe you can see it too. I drew it out. You have a left shoulder, you have a right shoulder, and then you have a head. Shoulder, head, shoulder. Oftentimes, these, especially after large dips, these are reversal patterns. Now, sure, we've been in an uptrend, but this was a pretty sharp correction. So, something to watch. This line right here, this trend, is my neckline. We have just broke the neckline, and we're trying to retest here. So I'm going to get a quick measure move of where this thing could potentially go if this breaks out. Now, how you get a measured move of a shoulder, head and shoulder, inverse head and shoulder, you just basically go from the head to the neckline, and then you pop it above one of the shoulders of the neckline. So where it broke, that's the neckline. So look, if this thing runs the full move, it could run up to $1 to $122. Maybe higher, maybe lower. These things aren't perfect, but this is just basic, fundamental technical analysis. I'm gonna get it on a little bit lower time frame. So it's attempting to hold support here. If it can hold and it can claim this as support, there may be a position to be taken here. And then you have a clear invalidation at the end of the day. Look, if it breaks back in, there's probably a low volume gap. I'm gonna imagine, I'm gonna put my VRVP real quick. Yeah, a low volume gap that would take you back down to this neckline here of a 75. And if you actually see, there's actually a little bit of a head and shoulder. We'll go down to the 4 hour. Little shoulder, head, shoulder, broke out to the upside. All right, take the measured move of it. It hasn't fully made the move yet, so it's pretty close. I think it might still have a little bit more upside, but we'll know if it can hold, and it's trying to. So keep an eye on this one. If it does pull back, I'd be looking for a bounce around that 75, 76 area. I'd be looking for some type of support to form there. If it starts to lose that, then you obviously have to go to the next level down, which is around 69.70. What you don't want to see with these things, they can pull back, but you don't want to see, this is how this gets invalidated. It gets invalidated once this shoulder gets breached. It can pull back, but if it doesn't take this low here, you're good. It's okay. When it starts to break that shoulder, it starts to invalidate the pattern. You have to kind of reassess. So this is definitely one I would watch. This is one of the more interesting ones in my opinion. The volume's not there yet, but we still are in consolidation. But I mean, look, it looks like it's gearing up for something. So, I mean, that's about a 50% move. How's my volume now? Is this still low? I might have to fix that. Just turn your volume up really loud, Rich. That's what you gotta do. So, BWX. This is, let me double check what this one is real quick. I was looking at this earlier. I believe, yeah, this is nuclear energy, right? This thing's hot. Look at it. It's run. It's run pretty hard already. The volume looks good on it. It already ran. I mean, this thing already had its pop, right? Just from last year, actually from March, from the tariff scares up, this thing ran about 150%. The way I see it, if this thing's running 150%, I mean, it's just showing that this sector's starting to get hot. This may be one of the leaders. Have to pay attention to this one. This might dictate, you know, what other ones do. It's one of the only ones that's green. Take a look at this one. It's not an investment at this moment. You need to wait for a pullback on this one, but this could be just kind of like the, telling you what's getting ready to happen in the energy sector. So it's something to watch. Iron Limited. I believe this one is nuclear energy as well. I have to double check this real quick. Iron Limited. Okay, this is a data center. So this is just a data. I wrote it right up here, data center. I'm like checking it. I wrote it on purpose so I wouldn't forget. Look at the data centers. I mean, it's telling you what's happening, right? This is giving you clues in the market about where the money's going. People are putting money into data centers. They're still putting money into AI, but they're not necessarily putting their money into the companies. They're putting money into the infrastructure, which is the data centers. This is something to pay attention to. There's other data centers. I have some other charts I've looked at. They're in the Discord. I'm not really going to go too much into those, but I just want to use this as an example of where the hype, where the money has been going. So if the data centers are running and they're going to continue to build, you're probably going to see new data centers open up. You're going to see new companies. There's going to be investment opportunities. It's probably not a bad time to kind of get yourself acclimated to this space. I'm primarily a crypto trader, but I'm kind of opening up to the idea to, kind of diving more into stocks and playing these narratives, because I mean this move. I mean, let's see what the move was. Whew. So this is the March low. This is the tariff low. Look at this thing. 1,448%. Like, I'm just saying, like, there's opportunities like this out there, and that probably haven't been released just yet. So you gotta, like, sometimes it's not where, sometimes the money's not where you think it is, and you have to go looking for it. But this is just an example. Little low. Yeah, short it right now. Sure. Let me see if I can. That's why. Give me a second. Let me fix this. I know why it's doing that. It's connecting to my laptop, not to my headset. Let's see if I can fix that real quick. It's not going to allow me to switch mics. That's weird. All right, we're just going to have to deal with it. Sorry, guys. This is not going to be a long stream anyway. I'm just going to go over a few things. Apparently, just disconnected from my mic, so I'm using a headset for no reason. It's just using my laptop mic right now. That's probably why you're having trouble hearing me. Ben wanted me to go over Riot. We looked at this the other day in the Discord. So Riot is a mining company, BTC mining company. The reason I think Riot's interesting here, I'm going to get rid of the VR. I'll keep the VRVP. I don't even want to tell you, like, look, this thing has been crapped on pretty bad, right? And it's down really hard. But what I do notice, look at the volume. Volume is running up. And we've been in a consolidation. We're starting to break levels here. We're putting the majority of the volume below us. And we have a nice low volume gap that takes us up to probably this next high right here around 46. Every time price breaks this level, it moves pretty quickly, right? This is always served as resistance, this $20 to $25 level. When it gets above it, it moves pretty fast up to this 46. You can see it from here in this wick, and you can see it when it broke through here. So I think this is going to be a level to watch, this 46, but we're sitting around $21 now. When I go down to the lower time frames, look, we're trying to hold support. We're looking like it's starting to look a little bit like an SR flip. So what you do is you get down to your 4 hour on these things, and you start to look for maybe a bull flag of some sort, some type of pattern you can kind of like watch in the short term. And if it could stay above this, there's probably about a 100% move here on this coin. And it's not even a coin, it's a stock. So I'd keep an eye on this one. I'm going to check market cipher on this real quick. I actually do want to see if money flow is flowing back into this or not. I do apologize for the volume. Just having some technical issues, but I can't change it once I'm streaming, unfortunately. So just note it for the next time. It looks okay. I mean, money flow's coming up. I mean, on the weekly, looks like we're a little overcooked on the weekly, so it's just probably consolidating while the weekly resets a little bit. I'd imagine when this high gets taken right here, let me go back to this right here. When this high, $24, gets broken, you're probably going to see a gap up to the 40s. So, just one to watch for sure. I need to go look at Bitcoin real quick. All right, Bitcoin's doing what Bitcoin does. So that's kind of like the plays I've got right now. I think the big things to be watching will be Apple, Microsoft, Meta, Amazon this week. They're going to dictate the majority of what the S&P does. And I think a lot of that's going to, earnings on the same day as your FOMC rate cut decision. I think that's just a recipe for some serious movement, volatility. Do you play it directly? I probably wouldn't. I would wait till after. Wait till Powell's done speaking. Let the markets digest the news, what he says. Usually there's going to be a bunch of bullshit tomorrow, false moves. And we'll take a look at NVIDIA real quick. So I gave this call about a couple weeks back, right? NVIDIA broke out of this bull flag here, and we were sitting down here. And we had put that double bottom in, and I was like, I think this thing's getting ready to go. We have earnings in a few weeks. And the AI news that happened, look at NVIDIA. Somebody obviously knew something because this thing was pumping before that, but look, it's running, man. I said $200 was pretty likely and possibly even higher than that, and it's going. So this is AI. People haven't lost faith in NVIDIA. That's a good sign. It's still moving up. This has been the market leader. This has been pretty much, since the bull market, this has been our gauge of whether we're bullish or not for TradFi and crypto. They all follow it. So I appreciate that, Rob, keeping me in line here. Yeah, I'm all panicking. I'm like, what if they can't hear me? I'm just talking to myself right now. I don't want to be one of those guys that do like a 30-minute stream or 40-minute stream and it's half the time you can't hear me. That'd be embarrassing. Anyway, NVIDIA is already gone. I gave that play a few days ago, maybe like a week ago. I was talking about it. I didn't manage to get it, unfortunately. It was just too close to FOMC for me. If I'm taking this play, I'm probably taking it on a futures market. I don't trade options. Probably would have been a great options play. But yeah, I'm going to start crypto with a few things. So I'm going to talk about BTC dominance, and then I'm going to talk about USDT dominance. It's always how I start my charting. So, when I'm giving analysis, I like to start with these charts as well. Look, BTC dominance is still trending up. There's no alt season until this thing breaks down, so keep that in mind. What I will say, it's been slowly grinding up. I think this wick will get filled at some point, and I think when we see that wick fill, it's probably going to be when BTC is making its move. Oftentimes, BTC will take over the market share for its move up. It just needs it because otherwise, BTC needs to suck liquidity out of all coins. It needs to suck liquidity out of the entire crypto space for it because it's such a big asset in comparison to the total market cap of crypto. So this will probably rise. You'll see some altcoins maybe rise with it, but not nearly as fast. So this is something to keep watching. For now, it's still in an uptrend on the local levels. You just take this little right here. So could be a little bit of a trend to watch. Starts to break down. Potentially, you can maybe start shifting into altcoins. What you don't want to see is BTC dominance running up aggressively and BTC running down. That's a no-no in my opinion. It's not going to be good for anything. So just keep an eye on this chart if you're watching the crypto space. Look, USDT dominance is still. This is tether dominance. While this thing is moving up. That means money is flowing into stable coins and out of what? Altcoins and Bitcoin. So right now it looks like we're getting a little bit of a bounce. I'll show you on the lower time frames in a second. I go down to the 4-hour. It looks like we're getting a little bit of a bounce here, right? So there's a potential it's going to come up a little bit higher, and that's supporting what's happening in the market right now. We're getting a little bit of a pullback. So we've gotten a little bit of green today on the USDT dominance, right? It's only about barely a percent, right? Maybe a percent. Okay, so like 3%. And the total, I'll actually go to the total market cap real quick and show you the effect. Total market cap today is down about 3-4%. So you see the correlation, right? They're clearly correlated with each other, just inversely correlated. So it's important to watch those charts. Go back to USDT dominance. So right now, as long as this thing continues in an uptrend, we have to imagine, or in upwards price action, we have to imagine that crypto is going to be continuing to pull back. It's not going to be so great, especially for altcoins, higher risk things. What I do want to look at, there's a little bit of a trend here, right? So maybe this is where we're headed. We don't know. So maybe it's just headed back up to here, and it's going to put in a lower high, and it's going to roll over, and everything will be great in a few days. So that's one option. Maybe if tomorrow gets crazy, it's going to run back up, and it's going to reclaim some more of this wick. Who knows? We'll see what happens when the time gets there. I don't really like to speculate on USDT dominance because it's really tough to gauge these things. All you can do is follow the chart. Right now, it's in a consolidation, but it is in a local downtrend. But we don't know what's going to happen with this wick. So we'll see. We'll probably have resolution. We'll probably have a direction by the end of the week, is my guess. November tends to be one of the best months for crypto. October tends to be Bitcoin's month, or Bitcoin dominance's month. And November tends to be the month where you start to see altcoins run. So keep that in mind. Below this trend line right here, that's probably going to indicate alt season, or one of the indicators of alt season I'm watching. I'm using that word loosely. It just means when Bitcoin is getting outperformed by the alts. All right, so look, we're in a range on BTC. You can see it right here. I'm going to get really into like some local levels here. I don't really need to give you the macro overview on this. We did that on Sunday. Look, as long as we're in this range, you treat it like a range. I did say there was a few levels to watch to the downside, and it seems like we're headed towards those levels right now. I got to get down to the hourly to really show you what I'm looking at here. So we have a trend. We've been in an uptrend since the 17th of October, since that low got put in back on the 10th, 11th. We came down, put a higher low in, and we've been running up since. It hasn't been an easy ride. If you're a crypto investor, if you're an investor, you've been fine. You're just sitting in your positions. But if you've been a spot trader, like a day trader or a leverage trader, even a swing trader, this hasn't been the easiest run. I mean, look at the volatility. None of this makes sense. It's like you put in a high, you come down, you put in a double bottom here, you run the highs, then you run the lows, come back up, run back down. Like it's been insane. It hasn't been the most friendly trading environment. Which is why you should be trading in a group. If you're just trading by yourself and you're getting chopped up, join a group. It doesn't have to be our group, but I would say join a group because you'll realize you're not alone. If you're finding yourself having trouble in these kind of markets, these type of market environments, if you're a more experienced trader will have been around long enough to understand this, but a newer trader may start to doubt their system, may start to doubt their confidence will start to decline. Sometimes it's nice to know that you're not the only one. You can go look at the liquidations, and you can tell promise you're not the only one. They've been averaging like 600 million, 800 million in liquidations almost like every other day, which is unheard of. It's insane how many people are getting liquidated in this market right now. Look, we're headed down. We had a nice little fake out today. I knew this was going to happen, by the way. I wasn't trading today because of this. I'm like, I know what they do. They do this every FOMC. They run it down into either FOMC or they pump it into FOMC, and then they usually do the inverse of that when it's done. It's probably a good sign that we're running down into FOMC. What this tells me is that people are de-risking. They're being scared out of their positions. People are de-risking naturally. Sorry, a little alert going off. People are de-risking, and that's normal because there's uncertainty. Even though we have like a 98% chance that there's a rate cut, or people are pricing in that there's going to be a rate cut tomorrow, and there's like a 96% chance for a December rate cut, there's still uncertainty. We don't know. Jerome Powell can say one word. Trump can tweet one thing that he dislikes, and it can flip the market in a heartbeat. So people naturally are going to play this cautiously. What I do like is that we're coming down not so aggressively, minus today. You can tell, New York at like 2 o'clock decided, hey, it's time to, and look, this is right before the market closed, and the US market closed, and New York de-risked. They got the traders closed their positions out, I'm sure. You probably had some retail capitulating who are buying up here, thinking we're going to get a breakout or something. Who knows? But look, people are de-risking. I'm watching two key levels. There is a CME gap. I'll show you the exact level right here. It's right around here. It starts. We haven't fully filled yet, by the way. So it's on Friday. CME closes around 5 o'clock, 4:35. So right around here. And this is still what's left of the gap, right here. So we still have some of the CME gap left to fill. Hasn't been filled completely. I think it runs down to like 110.6, maybe 111. It also does line up with several anchored VWAPs. We have a golden pocket a little bit below, and that's the 618, 786 fib pull from this entire range here, right? This entire price movement up. And we have the CME gap. So we have a lot of reasons for us to come down here. What I really want to see, and I'm going to go back to the hourly just so we can have some zoomed out context on this. What I really want to see, this bothers me, and as a trader, if you've been doing this long enough, you'll understand what I mean. And if you're new, I'll try to explain as best as possible. You never swept the weekend liquidity. Markets aren't open on the weekend. There are no market makers. I mean, there are market makers, but there's no rule like the Asia market, New York, and London, the three big markets. They're closed. Wall Street's closed. No one's trading besides retail and the whales, like maybe some whales who are trying to manipulate price or just degenning on the weekends. But no real players are here. The institutions aren't trading on the weekends. So this tells me that retail they were letting retail float this up over the weekend. I've never seen a weekend pump not get taken back. Here's the thing, I can't remember a time that they didn't take it back. That's how often it happens. It doesn't. They've done this before, and they don't always come back for it right away. A lot of times, what they'll do is they'll run this up into midweek, and then they'll come back and then they'll grab it, and then they take the move. Then they'll move up. They're like, okay, board's wiped clean. We got everybody out. They're not gonna let retail, and retail is just your average everyday person. They're not gonna let them hold the key positions and then break it out, and then Wall Street or the institutions are gonna come pump price up. It's just not how things work. They're gonna shake them out. They're going to take their positions. Retail will sell. They're going to keep pushing it down until retail capitulates out, and they're going to sell to the people who want to mark the price up, who have the money and the ability to do it, the institutions, the whales. That's how this game works at the end of the day. Look, it's the best way I can put it. It's like you see price pump on a weekend, you need to be suspicious. Your spidey senses should be going off. You should be questioning it. I do it every weekend that I see it. I'm like, this doesn't seem right to me. So I never FOMO in on the weekends because I've gotten rinsed so bad on these before, thinking, oh, it's gonna run up, and the next thing you know, by like Tuesday, Wednesday, they take it all back, and I'm sitting there feeling like an idiot. So don't be that person. They ruined your long this morning, Rob. Yeah, man, I'm sorry about that. I mean, it was, dude. Look, I think Ben was in a long. Ben took a long last night during Asia. That's weird. That should have been your red flag right there. If Ben's taking a long during Asia, yeah, that's that's a red flag. I know I'm talking shit about him. I'm sure he made some good money on it. I think I saw him on the brag wall earlier. So look, we filled a lot of the CME gap. We still have some more. I would love I would love to see them come sweep this weekend liquidity. Just take it all back. I would feel so much more comfortable if they did that. Just a little pump back, a little push back down here, right? Get a little pump back up. I see something like that. Oh, you best believe I'm gonna. With the right confirmations. I don't just blind long. I don't set limit orders down below and wait for them to hit. No, I'm looking for a divergence. I'm looking for volume to kick back in. I'm looking maybe for some market structure shifts on the lower time frames. 15-minute. If I'm day trading, I'll maybe look for the 15-minute market structure shift. But if I'm just looking for like a swing play, I'm probably looking for an hour or 4-hour shift. 4 hours is probably going to be the safest, in my opinion. If you're looking for a move, and we've gotten the 4-hour shift right here. Look, the 4-hour shifted right here back to the downside. When this low right here broke, that was your 4-hour market structure shift. That was your high, your low, your lower high on the 4-hour. Two candle expression. That's something I learned from Donkey. Dude knows market structure. That's all I can tell you, man. If you want to know technicals, talk to that man. He'll even if you're good at what you understand it, he'll give you a whole new understanding to it. I promise you. But look, market structure shifted. So now, for me to feel confident to take a larger position or a swing play, I need to see a 4-hour shift. Sometimes I will look for the hourly shift and I'll get in on the hourly shift. I've done that before, but I'm still weary until I see the 4-hour shift on swing plays. So I'm looking for something down here into this zone. I think this golden pocket is kind of like a last resort for me. If it gets down here, great. Does it have to get down here? Absolutely not. I just have it there. It's just a level. It's something to watch. We have some lows here. It just gives me a hot spot. I'm going to pull up the liquidity heat map real quick on another screen. If there's questions, guys, if I'm talking too fast, you need me to re-explain something, just pop it in the chat. I'll do my best to cover that. So look, here's our liquidity for the week. These are the zones we think we need to be watching, right? So to the downside, remember those area, that hot spot I was talking about, all the way down to 1096. That's where the liquidity goes. This right here, this hot spot, that's the bottom, that's the fill of the CME gap, and that's the sweep of the liquidity, of the weekend liquidity. They're already headed down here. Why wouldn't they grab it? We already have liquidity building back up at 116. We know that 116 has to be broken for us to even have a shot at all-time highs. This is the level that is like, this is pretty much going to be like our battlefield. If you're a bull, you need to see 116 broken. You start breaking 116 clear with volume and you're holding above it and you're not just a wick, not an SFP, we're talking about like an actual break. There's a good chance they're going to run back up to the all-time highs. But I think they want to clear the board first. Now that's just me. This is not something you trade off. This is just my theory on it. I think this is a good area to start watching for a potential bounce. Doesn't mean you long blindly. Watch for a potential bounce down here. So, liquidity backs up my areas, my zones. And the only reason it backs up is because this is other traders all looking at the same different confluences, the same zones, and they're placing bids there. They're placing bids. They're putting limit orders, whatever it is. They're just showing there's liquidity there to be had. People take longs on these like breaks here, and then they put stop losses underneath. They put stop losses underneath here. And those stop losses start to move up as price moves up. Sometimes they move up, sometimes they don't. But yeah, you have to imagine that like we're that close, why not go for it, right? Fill the rest of the gap, come back down here, maybe tap this trend, take that weekend liquidity, and then run it up. Leave retail on the sideline like they always do. That's probably what will end up happening. So, kind of my analysis on Bitcoin right now. I am short, full disclosure. I got short on the 4-hour structure shift. I got in right here. So when we had the shift and we back tested earlier, I took a little position here. I did actually catch a short from up here, but I closed out when we got to this low. I like to play my trades level to level. And when I see a break, I look for the retest and I'll re-enter. And I'm okay with that. So my stop's at break even. Can't lose on this trade, which is nice. It's a good feeling. And for now, I'm just going to wait. I don't think don't think it's worth opening a position now going into tomorrow if you're not already in a position that's winning. If you're not in a risk-free position, it's probably not worth it to take the risk. So, and risk-free meaning your stop losses that break even or in profits, and you're not going to take an L on the trade. So, yeah, it's kind of my thing on BTC. You got out a short. Where were you short at, Kush? Man, if you were short from this morning, oof, that was a good short right here, man. I saw that pump up to 116. Like, I should probably take that. I didn't do it at 116. I actually caught it right here. I was like right around here on that back test. You go to the 15, you can see what I was looking at. Came down, came back up. We just couldn't get the momentum going with us. I'm pretty sure markets are starting to look pretty bearish. Let me go down to the hourly real quick. I think it was an hourly. Hourly didn't look great. Let me see the 5. Was it the 5? Yeah, it was a tough one. Actually, that dump this morning wasn't an easy one to catch off the rip. This one right here I'm talking about. The one that ran up. I'm sure Ben probably caught it. Knowing him. I mean, I guess you would have had a trend maybe right here, right? Maybe you could have been tracking that into resistance. I'm sure volume was probably fading out. No, volume was pumping pretty hard. It didn't fade till right around here. So, yeah, that was a tough one. For me, at least. So I caught the back test. And when I saw the back test, I was like, all right, I'm jumping in. I mean, it's pretty simple for me. I just ran a little trend. I started to see a little weakness. I'm like, all right, I'm going to jump in this thing. And then it just ran down. Now I'm going to take a look at ETH real quick. And then I'm going to look at a few alts. And then I'll take some requests. I don't think I'm going to live trade tonight. I just don't really see the point. I think it might be a lot of chop. I think the big moves have already been made, in my opinion. So I think we just have to wait. So I was in the middle of TAing this earlier. This is for my own thing. So this is the zone I'm watching for on Ethereum. I want to accumulate. So we have a little bit of a downtrend. So we got a little bit of a downtrend here, right? Got 3 taps. So an established trend line. So I'm waiting for price to make its way back down into this zone here. Why do I like this zone here? Well, there's a few reasons. One, it's the golden pocket pulled from here. You saw that from my little fib pull earlier. 2, it lines up with the weekend liquidity. Here's our weekend liquidity. So just essentially this low right here around 3,900, 3,910, that's the weekend low. It lines up with our golden pocket, which is our 618, 786. Wouldn't be crazy because that's good confluence right there. It wouldn't be crazy for them to come down here, take that weekend liquidity, just like Bitcoin may do, and then run it up. Still be able to put a higher low in, still keeping bullish market structure on the 4-hour and the daily, because look, we've broken structure on the daily. We're still in an upward, market structure is still to the upside on the daily. So they could come down. They can come down. As long as they don't break this low here, it can come down to 3,800 if it wanted to and still be in bullish market structure. So I have alerts set at 3,900 down to 3,800. That is the area I am looking for a bounce. Not expecting a bounce, I'm looking for a bounce. I'll look for divergence. I will wait for a 1-hour probably market structure shift. I don't know if we broke. See, it's a little different. It didn't really break structure on the 4-hour just yet because it's kind of been trending down, so it never really put a significant high in. You might be able to argue that right here was where the structure cracked, right? And this was the back test. High, low, lower high, and then break of the structure right there. That's kind of like, when it's iffy like that, I'm like impartial. I'm not 100% convinced. But look, let's just call this, let's say this was a 4-hour market structure shift. You look for the 4-hour market structure shift back up. You look for price action to get down here, put its low in, it'll put some type of bounce. Maybe it'll put a higher low in, and when it breaks that, and you get that shift, just like you got there, you're looking for that here. And I'd be looking for something like that. If it lines up where we get some type of bullish divergence as well, even better. Like that would just like icing on the cake. That's like my bread and butter setup for swings. I look for a retrace into a golden pocket of some sort. I'm looking for a structure shift on on whatever time frame I'm trading on. Usually it's like a 1-hour, 4-hour for swing trades. looking for divergence, and if money flow and volume look good, it's enough for me to take the trade. It's enough for me to take a position. I give it a little bit of breathing room. Stop would probably go somewhere like this, right? Let's say I got into a trade like that. Stop would probably go somewhere underneath this low, the previous low, and I would be targeting. Look, here, I'll just be straight up with you. There's two places. If we're looking for a higher low on Ethereum here, I'm looking for two places to take profits. I'm looking for, if I was going to do a short-term swing or short-term scalp, I'd be looking for the high around 42.50. That's like a scalp play. If I'm looking for a swing trade, I'm looking for the top of this channel around 44, 4,500, or I'm looking for the all-time high. Those are my two zones. I'd probably take a little bit off the table here, and then I'd probably run the rest up to the all-time high. I am not one of those people who are going to sit there and get into a position and try to expect, oh, ETH's going to 15,000. I'm going to hold a swing trade from down here to try to like catch some crazy new high. I don't care. For me, this is enough. If it gets back to all-time high, I'm happy with that. That's the play I'm looking for. It may not play out that way, but if it does and my conditions are met, I will take the trade, and I'll have a good risk-reward back to the highs. Look, 8.8, 8.9. I might even be able to get the stop loss tighter. This is just initially. Once it starts to create new higher lows, I can move my stop to break even, and I'll be out of risk pretty quickly, hopefully, if everything plays out well. But that's kind of what I'm looking for, and I think that's the big play I'm looking for right now. Just full disclosure. I think BTC is getting ready to have a reversal pretty soon once BTC does its thing. It looks good for the most part. It's just flagging out, right? At some point, I think this thing breaks up. When that breaks up and ETH puts in its low, it'll probably start its climb. I think we need to see BTC, obviously we need to see BTC move. If BTC doesn't go up, nothing's going to go up. So this is my zone right here on ETH. This is the play I want to see. It doesn't make sense to me. I just kind of like, look, I'm not shitting on any alts, right? You said you were short on near from and closed it out during near. Damn. What's near at now? So look, I'm not trying to shit on any of the other alts, straight up. I'm just thinking from a logical perspective. Why go try to trade some bullshit, right? Let me give some, all right, why try trade something like this? Like Farcoin. Take the risk. You don't know if the money is going to flow back in here. What we do know is if BTC starts running again for its all-time high, there's a very good likelihood that ETH is probably going to be the next one in line to do the same thing. Money rotates downhill. It starts from the top and it makes it, the king, Bitcoin, and then it rotates into Ethereum, and then it'll rotate into the large caps, Solana, XRP, BNB, your big boys, Tau, Bitcoin or Tau. That's where the money's going to go next. There's no reason to go down all the way to the bottom of the list and then try to like wait there, because you might just sit around your money doing nothing and the rest of the market's running. I've been there. I've been that guy who I've put money into some low caps, not understanding how the market moved and why it moves the way it moves. Until I figured out, I'm like, okay, you have to play the game the right way. You basically start from the top. Bitcoin does its move, Ethereum and some of the large caps will follow, and then you'll start to see some of the lower market cap coins, the mids and the lows and the micros, they'll start moving. Stock market's the same way. People will take money out of gold, which I didn't talk about gold, but look, what's happening? Gold's been on a monster tear. And what happened? By the way, I called the top on this one, and I said that there's no way gold gets to $5,000 before Ethereum. So I'm throwing that one out there on live. I think I had like it was a couple of us were talking about it, and I was like, no, ETH's gonna get there first, because it's just, you're talking about a $38 trillion market cap versus Ethereum, which is like what, $1 trillion? Not it's not even. What is it, like a couple? It's like 500 billion maybe. I don't even know. It's definitely less than that. ETH doesn't have nearly the market share that gold does, so it doesn't take much to move ETH. Well, it takes a lot to move gold, especially at these levels. Gold pulled back. What did the rest of the market do? What did the S&P do? It's been running up. People are taking money out of gold and they're rotating it. They're putting it in more risky assets. That's the game. That's how this stuff works. So once you kind of figure that out, you don't rush into like your high risk coins right away. You play the game. You go through, play the less risky stuff, make your profits on that. And if you have some profits left over, if you have some money you want to mess around with the smaller coins, then you go with that. You do that kind of stuff. That's my opinion on that. You guys can trade and invest however you like. I will say this though, if you're looking for a trade tonight, it's not in a bad spot right now. We'll get this right here, right? I'm just gonna throw this since we're talking about Ethereum. We could put a low in earlier. We did front run the golden pocket. I do think they're coming down here to grab this weekend liquidity. They stopped just shy of all the weekend liquidity. To me, these front runs, they only do this to induce FOMO. It's because people are jumping in early, market makers stop it short, run it up a little bit, get some people excited, and then what do they end up doing? They run it back down anyway. I've seen this play out a lot. They'll get people excited, they'll start to run it up, clean back some of this liquidity, and then bam, slam it back down just to sweep all the liquidity, stop out all these people here, and then actually make the move. So don't fall for the trap. I think this is probably going to be a bull trap here, right? What we're seeing. So they're probably going to trap some bulls. Probably going to form some type of bear flag, maybe, or some type of move. We are right below a low volume gap. There may be a scalp play here if you want to trade this. See this low volume gap? It takes us back up to 40.63. I don't know how big of a move that is off the top of my head. It's like a 2%, 1.5%, 2% play. If we can get this 15-minute market structure shift right here, right? So this high, wow, I'm gonna let this delete. There we go. So look, low, high, higher low. If we can break this high, that's a 15-minute market structure shift into a low volume gap. It's not a bad scalp play, in my opinion. You can play it one of two ways. I wouldn't play it until it confirms. So you wait for the break, wait for some type of back test, and then you take the play. And then try to get your stop to break even or out of risk as soon as you can. Don't do it too soon, but try to get it out of risk, because if you're doing this before bed, if it's nighttime for you and you're getting ready to go to bed in a few hours, you could wake up and be underwater if you're stopped out in a loss. So if you're going to take this trade, you probably want to try to get yourself risk-free beforehand. Again, not financial advice, just kind of like what I'm seeing, and this is something that potentially happened. What I'm waiting for is probably going to be the sweep of this. I'm going to wait for all this stuff to get swept, and I'll be looking for my positions down here. If I don't get that opportunity, that's fine. I'm okay with that. There'll be other opportunities to get into this. We have this trend line. If this trend cracks, that could be an opportunity. Look, I don't have to catch the bottom to get a decent move. I just need to get in where I know it's the safest. I don't want to take a risky play unnecessarily if I don't have to. And right now, this could be a short-term low. They have a lot of this single print, like the low volume single print. They could just come back and grab. If you pull a fib, let's say if this high here where the breakdown happened. I mean, look, golden pocket's right up here. This is probably where you're going to see resistance. And it lines up because it's going into that trend too, right? If I pull this trend, let me get rid of this line. Let's do this right here. Now look. So it lines up. I'm like messing up. I was trying to erase this. There we go. So look, our golden pocket lines up with our trend right there. Wouldn't be crazy to see them run price back up into the zone somewhere and then maybe run it back down tomorrow. They have the catalyst for it. They can definitely do this in a heartbeat. So kind of watching for something like this on Ethereum in the short term, maybe overnight. Asia, a lot of times Asia and London will bid up, especially Asia, because they'll be asleep tomorrow during the FOMC. Sometimes they get their bids in early the night before big events like this, and you'll see the price run up, and then New York will come back and take the liquidity. So I'd watch for something like that going into tonight, into tomorrow. You see a pump up, don't be fooled. Don't think, oh, that's the pump, and start aping in. If you're taking it as a scalp, it's one thing, but don't start like loading up and betting the farm that this is the break up. It could just be a trap to run it back down again. So, but I mean, that's a short-term play I'm kind of watching for the time being. I don't know if I'm going to take this trade, but I just want to see what happens. There might be a short in it going into tomorrow, so that might be something I actually might be interested in. But I don't know if I necessarily want to take the long. Let me go look at the volume real quick. I mean, volume's friggin' nosedive in here. Do we have divergence? Let's see. Nope, we don't have divergence. Not on the 30. I mean, the hourly looks kind of weak. Yeah, not really. You got a little bit of bullish divergence here on this low that got put in on the 5-minute. I don't know if that's enough to project you to the highs, though. But, yeah, kind of something I'm watching. All right, what do you guys want to look at? I don't really have any alt plays tonight. I kind of gave you guys everything on Sunday, what I'm looking at for the week. I just want to go over Bitcoin and Ethereum to kind of give you like some context going into tomorrow. I think those are the ones you should be watching, and everything else will follow those, depending on what they're doing. So, what do you guys want to see? I'm gonna go look at Near real quick just because I want to see where your entry was at. Where's Near? I have it somewhere in here. There it is. Oh wow, you did have a good entry. Oof. I love drawing these little LARP lines right here. It's exactly what happened. Look, I drew this back on Thursday last week. I said Near's going to probably come up. If it SFPs, look for the lower high to run down. What we do, we came up, SFP. If you go to the hourly, you can actually see it better, right? Comes up, can't reclaim, and starts to run down now. That's interesting. Sometimes I leave TA behind as just when I come back, I'm like, oh, that played out, or that didn't play out. Kind of helps build my confidence, over time. COAI. I told you that, dude. I told you that was coming down, man. When I called that, I'll look at both of them. Let me look at COAI, then I'll look at Zcash. Look, I was watching COAI earlier when it did the sweep. This is why I didn't get back into it. Look, it didn't look horrible because there was divergence here, right? I went down to my 15. I'm like, ooh, there's some bull divs kind of going into this. It's actually on the hourly. You can see it too. You got some bullish divergence. What I don't like about COI right now, it's struggling to reclaim this level. It's gaining acceptance below. Right here, we had the rejection, came down, and then today we had a pump back up and then rejected again. It's not what you want to see. You don't want to spend too much time below the previous low. Because what that tells you is it's not done with the move down, and the next level down is down here like below sub $3. And then below that, it's sub $2. So we don't want to see acceptance. Best case scenario for this thing right now. This is going to just put in a little bit of a head and shoulders. Right, a little boom, boom. This little slanted inverse head and shoulders. You saw that trend I had drawn, right? Maybe this is just a back test of the trend, and it's going to gain acceptance. I wouldn't even look at this coin until it gets back above and gains acceptance back. You'll have time, I promise you. It's not going to just rip from here. So wait for it to gain acceptance back above this 430. If it does, it's probably a decent trade. Then you can have an invalidation somewhere down here, and then expect to maybe run back up a decent amount. Because I mean, look, this thing, it's just been up and down, up and down. Very volatile, very dangerous. If you're a spot trader, even on a spot trade, this is dangerous because within a matter of a week, it can run 400% and it can crashed down 80-90%. So like that is insane to me. This thing trades like a meme coin, worse than a meme coin, and it's got billions of dollars in it. It's not a small coin. So what that tells me is somebody's manipulating this, like someone with a lot of money. And guess who has? This is built on BNB. Guess who? Yeah, it's built on the BNB blockchain. I wouldn't be surprised if if Binance holds a majority of, the FDV. They probably own a majority of it, and they're probably just offloading it and just running it up and down, and just just basically money printer for them, getting retail, getting anybody who wants to put their money into this, or just shaking them out. So got to be careful with this one, but look for that reclaim of that 4344. If you can reclaim that, great. If not, you're looking for support down. Your next best spot is around 2.6. I don't even know if I'd want to get in there though. A lot of times with these coins, it didn't put a new high in, right? It failed to put a new high in. If it lost the previous low, you go to a higher time frame. I mean, that doesn't look good. It doesn't look great. Look at that weekly candle. It's not a good look. Get rid of all those charts real quick. That's not a good look for a chart. You don't want to lose. Look, you just shifted structure on the daily to the downside. So it's not great right now for this thing. So it really does need to reclaim. You can't close another week back down below here, in my opinion, or otherwise it's going to be pretty bad. So that's a shaky one. That's a shaky one. I need to see more out of it. I wouldn't go jumping in it just yet. Zcash had another run too. Called this trade out it was like over the last week, I think. Look, its previous cycle high, it got to the cycle high. I said, look, remember this. If you're watching this, when you hit a significant high, especially a high that got put in last cycle on some of these coins, just think about what Bitcoin did when Bitcoin got to its high from last cycle. It just breached 69K. I'll show you on the chart too, just so you know I'm not full of shit. We did this right here. We got up here. We breached a little bit, right? We went a little bit past 69K, got everybody hyped that we're, new all-time highs, and then we ran down for 6 months. Like, just pulled back for 6 months after that, before it actually broke the high. Actually created a little bit of a cup and handle, right? If you want to just be like, here's your cup, and there's your handle, and then it broke out. And it played out perfectly on BTC. Look where we're sitting at right now. We're sitting at the top of the cup and handle. That's literally where it took us to. So if BTC is going to do that, look, there's no chance that that your altcoin's not going to probably do the same thing. Stocks are the same way. I can show you on silver. The same thing happened on silver. But it wasn't as aggressive. But look, silver. Let me just get rid of this. A 14-year high that got put in on silver. Right here. 14 years ago, this high got put in. I said, as soon as it gets up there, look to short it. It's probably going to reject its first pass. And it is. It blew past a little bit, got some people trapped, and now it's rejecting. And it's probably going to consolidate for a bit, just because you see gold coming down too. So silver's probably going to consolidate before it makes its breakout. So oftentimes when these coins hit their highs for the first time, especially if it's been a high from a previous cycle, a couple years back, I mean, there's just been people underwater probably waiting to get out of this thing and waiting to sell. And when you get back to the highs, you're like, I'm out. And you have people that down here, they're like, hey, this is the high. This is if you were buying something down here and you're like, I'm gonna run it back to the cycle high, that's probably you're most likely not gonna take it past that point, because it's too risky, because you don't know. It's just a normal thing that happens in the market. You get back to an all-time high, and in the first pass is usually rejected. And we saw it here. Now, it wasn't the most convincing SFP, I'll admit that much, right, on this coin. It just wicked up just a little bit past it, but it's pulling back now. And I said, look, it's probably going to come back into this trend. I did call this short out right up here. I called this short, believe it or not. I didn't stay in it too long. But I said it's going to happen. If I would have been a little bit more patient, I probably would have stayed in it longer. But, yeah. And look, we're bouncing off our first support that I talked about. It was at 314, 315. It was that wick high. But I think it's going to end up happening. I think Zcash makes its way back down here in this zone. And then if it's going to make another pass at it, I think it's going to happen then. But I don't think it's going to happen overnight. I think it's going to take a few weeks for this thing to kind of work its way out. And then eventually it'll probably try to make a move to break it. So I'd be patient on this one. If you're trying to trade it, you got a little bit of a trend kind of running right here, right? Just track this trend down. You track this trend into some type of support, and if it so happens it plays out like this, price comes up, breaks the trend, you get a back test, and then look for the run up. You know, you can take that's like my bread and butter right there. I look for the trend break, I look for the back test, and then I run it back up. If you're looking for a trade on that, that's probably something you can look for. It's a higher probability play if that does play out like that. Doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen, but right now in the short term, it looks like it's just bear flagging out. I mean, look, we're in a trend. Oftentimes, what they'll do is they'll run it back into the trend, reject down, chop sideways, run into the trend, and then they'll run it down. If you take this flag, right? So this is the bear flag here. So if you take the measured move of the flag, let's see where it takes us. Take the flagpole, draw it from here. Look at that. Basically takes us down to that trend line and the golden pocket, which is pulled from right here, this low. So it's probably a short in here somewhere. I'm not going to tell you when to take it, but I mean, if I was trading it, that's something I'd be looking for. If I was looking for a bounce, I'd look for this short to play out, or the price to come back down here, and I'd be looking for a bounce down here. When I see confluence like that, that's usually a strong indicator for me that price is eventually going to make its way somewhere in that region. So I'm actually going to throw this on my watch list. Actually, good call, man. Good call, Kush. He said it's CZ. It probably is CZ, dude. CZ's he definitely does manipulate crap. He said it limp dig down further. Oh man. So you guys can say that stuff. I gotta be careful what I say on air. I don't want to get us banned. So it was hard, man. I had to exit all my positions today. Cause like I just look if Bitcoin's going down, I just don't see any point in holding anything. I had some spot stuff I had picked up, and I made a little bit of money on it, but I'm just gonna buy back in. I do think we're about to have a nice Q4, unless the Fed throws us a curveball tomorrow, which I really hope they don't. I hope it's just kind of like a cut and dried normal pal speech. I think the big things we're looking for tomorrow, just to talk about tomorrow's thing, we're looking for increasing balance sheet. Anything that implies that they're going to increase the balance sheet, because what that indicates is quantitative easing. They can't come out and say, "Hey, we're beginning quantitative easing." They don't do that. It would shock the markets too much. Some people would panic. Some people would just ape in. It would cause too much panic. So they got to be kind of. And if you ever notice this, they're very delicate with the way their wording is with these things. But the idea is we're looking for balance sheet to increase. Any talk like that, you know QE is right around the corner, or that's basically the pivot there. So, yeah, I think that's kind of what I'm watching for tomorrow. I'm going to be watching the speech, but I'm not going to trade it. I think it's too irresponsible. He said Trump. Back swinging. He didn't miss much, Fosco. Just me talking about a bunch of nothing. Nah, I was just talking about the Fed, man. I went through a bunch of these coins. Not coins, stocks. They're all energy stocks. Just showing you a few of Exxon. Constellation Energy, Fluence Energy, Next Era. Talked about a few of the mining companies, and we talked about a what was it? A nuclear energy company. Yeah, I think the play. You probably know a little bit about this stuff, Bosco, but I think the play is, look, with the AI stuff that's happening with Nvidia, and Trump pushing for us to build these crazy AI super centers and like data centers. I think the play at this point is going to be, you're looking for infrastructure plays. You're looking for, look, in order for those data centers to run, those massive data centers, you're going to need massive amounts of energy. We don't have that right now. The demand for energy is going to go up so much exponentially because of these things. It means that we're going to have to find new methods of producing cheaper energy so it doesn't affect the consumers, us, just like us normal consumers of energy, because last thing they want to do is have everybody's electric bill go up because the demand on energy is too high. It's just like anything, supply and demand. So I think these stocks are things to watch. I'll post them in the Discord probably tomorrow at some point. But there's a few good ones, man. There's a few good ones. I think there's some potential. This is one of the energy companies. It's called BWX, and you can see what it's done since March. It's run up 140%. Iron Limited is another one. This is a data center, right? And this is how you know, like, energy is going to be moving back. Like, the energy space is going to be probably the next place to play. Because some of these data centers, since the tariff news, look at them. 1,400% moves. So people are putting their money into this, into the infrastructure side of AI now. And then the commodity side, which is going to be energy. I think that's next to go. So that was mainly what I talked about today. And we're just talking about BTC. Nothing too crazy. I think BTC is going to fill the rest of this volume gap right here. This is the gap that we put in over the weekend. This little white box I have here, I'll label it gap. I'm going to get rid of this box real quick. I know where my golden pocket is. We got a little trend, and I think we have this weekend liquidity down here. I think they're going to come sweep. It would make sense. They come down here, they grab this, sweep the weekend liquidity. We got some anchored VWAPs. We have a trend. We have a golden pocket underneath. There's a lot of reasons for price to bounce around here. I don't think we'll come that far, but I think maybe we get like somewhere down here. I'll show you real quick, like right around here. This is like worst case scenario. We get that like 110 area. There's a lot of liquidity down here too. I was checking out the heat maps. The heat maps are lighting up like a Christmas tree down in this area. So I think this is a good area to look for some type of bounce on BTC. I think Ethereum, this is my zone on ETH. This is the other thing we're talking about. I think there's a short-term bounce play on ETH possible, like a scalp. We brought the break 15-minute structure here. So if we do hold the 15-minute structure and I can get like a little back test, it's a potential little play. You got a low volume gap that takes you up to 40.66. Not much, but if you're using leverage, this is not a bad play. Maybe even 4,100. Takes you back up to the golden pocket. You got this trend up here that we're kind of trending down. So I could see price making. It's clawing back some of this liquidity. And then ultimately, I think it's coming down here. I think ETH's going to make its way back down to the weekend lows. Take that weekend liquidity. Maybe bounce somewhere in the golden pocket around 3,800, and I think it's going to, my hope is that it'll catch support somewhere there, put that higher low in and continue its move up. Market structures are ready to the upside on the daily and the 4-hour on both ETH and Bitcoin, although it did shift on the 4-hour on BTC. Debatable on ETH if it's shifted 4-hour, but the daily structure is still intact. So we're just waiting for this flag to play out eventually on ETH. So for me, I'm looking for plays down here that will take us back to the all-time high. That's my goal. And that's pretty much what we talked about in just a nutshell. It does look like an Adam and Eve. I think there's I think there's a lot of potential, man. I think things are shaping up really nice. Looks like a giant cup in handy. Yeah. I gotta be careful saying that, man. I don't be coined as like the next crypto lifer over here. Calling everything a cup in handy. That dude's I'm not gonna say it. He's interesting, man. He's a character. That's the best. That's how I'm gonna put that one. He's a character. Um, yeah, man. It's kind of what I'm seeing in the market. I don't think there's too many crazy like individual plays out there right now. If I was looking at, I like Super, but I don't like the chart. I like the coin. I like the project. I don't like the chart. This is one I was trying to catch a position on. I just don't have the confidence to long down here just yet. I'm not seeing enough. I need to see something better. Potential inverse head and shoulders on this thing. I'm just going to run through a few coins I'm watching. And if you want to see anything, throw it in the chat, guys. I'm looking for potential inverse head and shoulders to maybe break us out of this low on Super. That'd be a play I'd be willing to take. Ondo, I think Ondo is probably the best looking one in my opinion. I mean, I talked about this on Sunday, but Ondo did the same consolidation last summer into Q4. It broke trend, and then it ran up to its high around 2 something. I remember I caught this. The reason I know it did this because I actually took this trade last year. I traded this from here. Believe it or not, I caught this break. It wasn't even the break. I actually built it before the break. But I was in from here to about here. I caught about a 200% move. I didn't get the full 237, but I got 200%. I was on a 5x leverage. I think I made 1,000% on the trade, a little bit over 1,000% on that trade. In a span of like 3-4 weeks, I made most of that money. We're doing something very similar right now on Ondo. The timeline's the same. The consolidation's a lot longer though. We consolidated way longer. And if you know anything about consolidation, the longer you consolidate, usually the bigger the move that follows. So I think the money, I didn't get in at the bottom last year, by the way. I didn't catch the very, very bottom, but I did catch like right around the break, a little bit above the break. My average is around like 68 cents, and I made a lot of money. I think I'm looking for something similar on Ondo this time around. If this thing just moves back to the top of this range, it's still a 53%. If it gets back to all-time highs, it's another 200% move for me. I think if it breaks this, it probably goes higher than this. I think it goes higher. I don't necessarily know to hold for that, but I mean, you have to look at the structure. I mean, look, this high, this consolidation's higher than last year, and it's higher than the year before. So like, it's been consistently putting in higher highs and higher lows on the higher time frames. Probably see it even better on the monthly. Yeah, I mean, the monthly doesn't look terrible. Look, it's just kind of making its way up, right? So we'll see. See what happens with that one. That was one of the stronger looking ones. They're building solar and battery plants. You gotta let me know, dude. Some of these things are about to run. Torn on a weekly, but short-term plays could be. What is torn, Robert? Before I look at it. Let me see. This right here, or Tornado Cash? Now, let me know when you get that out. I'll take a look at it, but I'm not sure what I'm looking at yet. Oh, remember I called this out the other day? I think I drew this out. I said I'm looking for the inverse head and shoulders on Aster. We got it. Shoulder, head. I was like, right shoulder come down into the golden pocket. That would be nice. We're starting to form a right shoulder right now. Still early. Still, you know, it's not too late. It's not, you're not like, you know, you don't have to jump in right now, but it's getting there. It's starting to form a bottom here. I think Aster's getting ready to make a move. I think we get through tomorrow. I think we get some bullish momentum into the market, and I think Aster will be one of the stronger coins to run first. It's shown some strength, and it's showing some promise here. I do like Aster. It's one of the ones I'll be watching. Volume starting to tick back up. If I look at the daily on this thing, it looks not terrible. ignore the volume, because the volume on the daily doesn't look right because it's still a new asset. But I'm looking at this right here. I mean, we're starting to head up. We're going to break back into the bullish control zone on the stock RSI. So I think this thing has some potential if BNB runs, which it probably will. I think Aster runs. So this is one I'm watching. Arrow's another one I'm watching, Aerodrome Finance. I think this one is probably one of the stronger ones. Look at this thing. It's just looking strong, man. Flag. It's one of the first ones that broke daily structure, one of the first altcoins. It actually broke structure before ETH did, which just says something. So it's going to be a market leader. And it's not crazy. It's just got hype behind it. So I think this one's going to be a good one to watch. I think there's a good chance they take out the all-time highs if this flag breaks. I don't see a reason why not. We've taken everything up to here. What's left? The all-time high. We've taken all the liquidity back already. All this liquidity back from there, we came back up, we swept all of this. We have this little piece right here around 166, and then we have the highs around 230, 240. So I think that's going to be a good one. Let me see. Still waiting for Robert to get back to me on that torn. SWE still chopping around. It's not showing a lot of strength just yet. So I'm kind of sitting on my hands on this one for now. I want to see a little bit more out of this. Do I think SWE is going to move? Probably. I mean, it's got some hype. But until it breaks, it starts to like show a little bit more like better looking market structure. It just doesn't look great right now. It hasn't really broken daily structure like a lot of these coins yet. It wicked above it, but it hasn't broken structure. So it really needs to break this high here. Like we don't even have this low. I guess you can argue that this is a low and this is a higher low. Which means we need to break this. That's what we got to break. So 270 is like kind of my line in the sand. I need to see it get back above 270, and then I'll look for a shift on SWE if you want to look for a pump, a break on that. Could be an inverse head and shoulders printing, possibly. Nah, I'll take that back. It doesn't look like an inverse head and shoulder on the daily. It doesn't look like one on the. It's just ranging. So wait for the range top to break. Look for the back test. That's what I'll be watching for on SWE. BNB is back at the bottom of the channel, or the could be a bear flag, but I think it's a ascending triangle. So it's just back at the bottom. It's testing it. It's respecting the level though, which I like. But look, it deviated above. It's coming back down to grab some liquidity. So it kinda still looks like an inverse head and shoulders, but I'm not putting too much on this one. I'm really watching BNB more so for Aster. And if you're watching Chain Opera COAI, you want to see BNB going up. Because just like Bitcoin, when Bitcoin goes up, altcoins follow. When BNB goes up, its ecosystem will follow. Aster and COAI are both in the BNB blockchain ecosystem, so you kind of need to pay attention to like the leaders. Bittenzer Tau, massive, dude. This thing is super strong. I think once we get like a hint of bullishness, this thing's gonna take its all-time highs. Like I have no doubt that it'll go back above its all-time high. Yeah, look, the measured move takes you right there. If it breaks this flag, this channel, it takes you right back to the all-time high. And it's just been showing relative strength compared to the rest of the market. Everything was red today, and this thing was green. It barely budged. So like it's getting ready to break at some point. I think this will be one of the first ones. And it makes sense because like with all that talk about NVIDIA and all the AI and everything that's happening around AI, this is the #1 AI coin in crypto. Like this is what everybody looks to. This is the blue chip AI. Now if this runs, you're small. That's when you know AI narrative is probably going to run in crypto. Your near protocols and AI. Desync, which is Destro Network, something that's a smaller cap, that's going to run. You have Hash AI. There's so many small coins out there. They got beat up pretty bad. You're going to see some of them move. But this is going to lead the way for the AI tokens. So this is one I'm watching too. I don't remember who told me about that coin. I'm taking this off my list. I don't trade that. So Yeah, guys. I mean, oh, Sol. Sol's another one I'm watching. Another market leader. Look for Sol to hold this trend. Look for this flag to hold. And I'd imagine the next move up for Sol is going to be a nice one, right? Something like that, maybe. It's gonna. I think it'll break 300. Some people think it's gonna go to 400. I don't know if it's gonna do all that. 400 or 500 bucks. I don't know if it has it in it to do with this cycle, but I think we crack all-time highs for real. I think we get a little pump up. But price discovery, look, fifth wave or fifth, the fifth wave and like a, 5 wave move up are usually the, like, sometimes, especially in a blow off top, they can run a lot higher than people expect. So you can never fade those. So like if this was an impulse, right? All right, one, two. This will be the third wave. This is your fourth wave, and the fifth will be somewhere up there. So if this fifth wave runs, it could run higher than that. We don't know. Maybe it does run up to 500, but I mean, I'd probably play the more conservative one. If I can get a trade, I am looking for a position on this one. I'll tell you guys that much. I'm not trading SWE right now, but I am looking to trade Solana. I think ETH and Solana are going to run pretty hard together. ETH will probably outpace it at first, and then I think Solana will start to take over. I'm looking for around 180. I think 180s is a solid number. Pull a little golden pocket, like the 180s. Expect them to come down, maybe see it front ran at 618 right here. I don't like when things front run. There's your weekend liquidity. It did take the weekend liquidity though, so that's the good thing. So Sol swept its weekend liquidity already. It is leaving back behind some stuff, so I'm thinking maybe if it does come back down here, get a little dip into this area. I'll be looking for some type of long, because then structure's still intact on the higher time frames. Daily structure shift still intact, and you're looking for that higher low to take us back up to the top of this channel, and hopefully to be the breakout. Hopefully that'll be the breakout that'll get us out of here and pump us up into the 300 area. And for me, that's what? That's a 50% move on Solana. I just run it up to like 300. That's like a 60-something% move. I mean, it's not. Look, I guess as a degen crypto trader, I'm like, that's not great. But I mean, at the end of the day, like, it's really good. If you can get a 50-60% move on spot, that's amazing. You throw a little leverage on there, you can turn that to 3, 4, 500% move, and that's a safe 4 or 5x on a safer asset than trading some shitcoin that might go to zero. Can Solana go to zero? Yeah, but I think it's less likelihood that Sol's going to go to zero. It actually has technology. There's things being built on it. There's a freaking Solana phone. You know what I mean? It's like Sol's around for a while. I think Sol's here to stay for a bit. That's just my opinion. Well, what torn, Rob? I was asking you. Oh, Tornado Cash. Okay. I can go look at Tornado Cash. Ironfish is a privacy coin. What's the ticker on Ironfish? Let me go look at Torn real quick, then I'll go look at the other one. So Tornado Cash, I have heard of Tornado Cash. So where's the actual... The problem with Tornado Cash, you can't buy it anywhere. It's like hard to get. Yeah, dude. What is this chart? What is this? Yeah, this is a dead coin, brother. This is... Let me go look. I'm gonna pull up the volume real quick on this. Yeah, it is a dead coin, dude. I don't think this thing's coming back. These are exit liquidity pumps. That's all these are. This is manipulation. Someone's like pumping this coin to just make quick bucks on some retail who are just gonna FOMO in. Be careful trading this one. I'd imagine the volume's really low on this thing on exchanges. Look at the weekly volume, right? Remember I talked about that? Remember I talked about the spike shell, like the Bowser look, like kind of like Cass did? That's what the volume's doing right now. It's putting... Doesn't look great, man. But hey, man, if you can trade it, then go for it. I don't see myself trading it. So anything, it looks bearish right now. This looks like it's getting ready to roll over. Look at the 15. I mean, wouldn't be shocked they take this wick back. Would not be shocked. From our prices now, that's like what, 6%. Might be a short in there somewhere. Yeah, this is a bear flag at the end of the day. This looks like it's coming down in the short term. Yeah, I mean, if you're looking for small scalps, maybe this is the play. I mean, look at that volume spike right there. Out of nowhere. Like, nah, dude, I'm staying away from this thing. Good luck with that, Rob. Iron? I think I looked at iron. Iron. Hold on, what's the... I might look at cake. You know the only reason I haven't looked at cake? Cake is a DEX, right? It's hard to look at DEXs right now, dude. There's way too much. Dude, Hyperliquid's just taking all the market share right now. It's hard to play DEXs unless it's like Iron Fish. It's a privacy coin, so that's USDT. I gotcha. Iron Fish, I see it here. Okay, it's all MEXC. Whew. Get off the 15. Dude, privacy coins got destroyed. What the hell happened to these things? Anyway, but you're right. The volume looks really crazy. Look at that. That's pretty big volume spike on the daily. I mean, look at the weekly. Someone's accumulating. But then I get down to the 4 hour and it's like kind of like in a downtrend. That's weird. Man, I guess you're just waiting for this to pop. Kind of waiting for this little wedge pattern, whatever this is, to kind of figure its life out. When that pops, when it picks a direction, that's probably be your indicator. If it breaks this, it'll probably come up to this high right here on 90 cents. I mean, it's about a 3x from there. You see what the measured move is. It's probably the exact measured move of this thing. Pretty close, right? Close enough that we can assume that that's probably where it's going to end up going. It breaks. Yeah, might be a play there. It's inconsistent though, man. This thing's like weird. It chops sideways forever and then it just rips out of nowhere. Like, that's tough. That's a tough sell for me. Might be a spot play though. I wouldn't touch it on leverage. Can you chart? Shut up, Ben. I'm not gonna say that. Hey Ben. So what's it gonna? It's gonna be interesting when you have to admit you're wrong when alt season happens. That's gonna be fun. I don't think I've ever heard Ben say he was wrong ever. Let me go look at cake real quick. If I'm wrong now and then there is no alt season, apparently I gotta wear a dress or something. I don't know. We'll see. That'll be the day that my camera is broken. My stream. I can catch me wear a dress. Oh man. I'm like too hairy to wear a dress. It just wouldn't look right. This is a tough one, man. Look at that. This is the price action where it's holding this money line pretty straight though. Like pretty solid. But the spikes on this thing are insane. This is cake. That's my wife. Oh man. I was looking at your coin that well, not your coin, but the mining company we were talking about earlier, Riot. Cake looks okay. Look, if Cake holds this trend, man, I think, you know, this might not be a bad area. If it starts to slip this trend, I think you got to worry. But the volume looks okay. As long as it keeps doing that, I think you'll be all right with this one. Let me see what the weekly looks like. Weekly looks like, nah. It's like ass, if I'm being honest. But hey, who knows? Yeah, there's probably better coins to trade than this right now. But if BNB starts to run back up, I mean, I'd imagine you'll probably see this thing run. doesn't look, it's just never really regained it, but the volume's impressive though. I'll say, look, it's continuing to, create new highs, and it's in consolidation. If you just look at this as a consolidation, nothing more, right? And you see volume spiking up like that, kind of trending up, like it's probably signs of accumulation, potential accumulation. So something to keep an eye on. On the lower time frames, it's really hard to trade this thing. I've tried before, I've gotten wrecked. It is not an easy coin to trade. Like, you got to really have some balls on you to do this one. I'll show you that coin where the riot sharp end. The volume doesn't look bad on it. No volume. It's consolidating. And if you look at this, right, look at the volume, fades. As soon as you get above this level, and you can hold above this level, it's a pretty easy run back up to 46 bucks. And I mean, it's popped, every time it's popped this level back here, right? Just trying to draw a box over it, right? This is your accumulation range. When it gets back above that range, you get these spikes up because the volume drops off. So with the volume spiking this way, I think there's a potential move back up to 46 if it can clear 24. That was the level. That was like the line in the sand I was talking about earlier. I like this one though. This is a mining company, which is, it's weird how it went down so much, but I mean, if I'm just looking at it, it's holding the previous highs, it's holding above this range. It's just got to crack this little level right here. I think that's like the last little like hiccup, and it's just consolidating right under it. So I think there's a good chance, man, this thing might actually be, in store for a run. Kind of looks like a little bit of a bull flag too. A little ugly bull flag, but it's, it's consolidating above. It's an SR flip. This could be a good one. And look, we got earnings coming up on this thing on the 30th. So interesting. This is a good one to watch. I got thrown off guard the other day when I looked at this thing for the first time. I'm like, what the hell happened to it? Like, how does something go from $3,600 down to 21 bucks? Like, how does that happen? Like it's crazy. But I mean, if you're just looking at it from this price action here, I mean, it doesn't look bad. So I didn't see a catalyst, man. Nvidia pumped, and there was really no catalyst today. I think it's just de-risking. I think it's just normal market into FOMC. The market, the traders don't want to hold positions into tomorrow. I think people are going to be just kind of concerned about that. D's, please. Yeah, I'm not typing that in. I know what you want me to say. I'm not going to say it. Let's see. What else am I going to look at? Yeah, I think BTC is just, I think people are just de-risking it tomorrow like they always do. You always see this pre-FOMC. People get spooked out. They shook it out of the market. Nvidia's looking good though. That news that popped earlier kind of gave it a nice little surge up. So this gives me hope. If Nvidia's running up, you have to imagine everything else is probably going to follow at some point once things go. And gold just continues to roll downhill too. So money's moving out of gold and it's going into other assets. It's going into the S&P. You can see it by, let me go a little closer time frame. I'm going to actually use this chart here. So it's rolling into the S&P. I mean, look, 22nd of October. Then I go look at gold. Gold started breaking down on the 20th. So like money moves out of gold and it's starting to move into other things. 22nd of October, Nvidia starts to pump. So you're seeing the rotation of the money at this point, which is good. We want to see that. We want to see it move into riskier assets because eventually it'll make its way to crypto. And I'll get my 5-minute alt season. That'll probably be like really underwhelming. Silver's pulling back too. Yeah, everything's kind of just chilling right now. Commodities are kind of like back. Check out this, if you're still here, Ben, check out this Why aren't we trading this stuff? So this is data centers. This is from the tariff low. Look at that. 1,343%. So like all those energy tokens I was talking about earlier, like I got a bunch of them. It's like Exxon, Constellation. This one looks good. It's Fluence Energy. It's just been trending down, but it looks like it's getting ready to like. I feel like if they break this trend, man, they're gonna sweep all this liquidity. Could be a good 2x play, possibly. You got a little inverse head and shoulder on this Nexa. Look at that. Just running into. It's been running up. So these things, I think, eventually they're gonna catch up. Like the demand for energy is going up because of these data centers, things like that. That's iron. This is another data center. This is actually nuclear energy. I'm sorry. This is a nuclear energy power company, but look, it's ran up like 150% since what, May. Yeah, some of these things. I think this sector is about to get really hot, man. I think the infrastructure play is going to be the big play in the AI space next because the demand for it's going up. Demand for energy, demand for these mining, for these data centers too, building them. New companies are probably going to start popping up. It's going to be a good time to be an investor. It's going to be an alt week. Yeah, right. No alt season. We get all. It's like fall in the east. Like in the East Coast, we get like 1 week of fall. It goes from like summer. You get like a couple, like 2 weeks of fall weather, and then it turns straight into winter. It's horrible. And BTC got teabagged this afternoon. It did. Thanks, Brian. AMD. I'll go check out AMD. Ooh. Got a nice little pump this week too. Look at that gap. Oh, that's scary. Earnings coming up. And you got this big gap right here. I'll watch this one. Has AMD been doing good though? I haven't really paid attention to this one too much. Not wrong thing. Gap. What would be the percentage back down to this? Yeah, no, that would be catastrophic if this thing dropped 20%. Like, what's a normal pullback on this thing? Oh, well, it can move. It can definitely move. This is a pretty big correction here, actually. But that was over the course of March 24th down to, yeah, about a year. So, it's been downwards for a year. That's crazy. Yeah, it runs down for a year, and then it runs up for how long? October 22nd to, so about 2 years maybe, year and a half. So down for a year, up for a year and a half. Let's see where it's at. April. I think this thing might have some more upside. Maybe a pullback coming though, but if we did get a decent pullback based off like the way this thing actually moves, this low volume gap will not be a bad area. I guarantee you'll see some accumulation somewhere in here. You'll probably get some type of you'll get buyers to step in this area if they do ever come back down here. So I'll keep an eye on that one. You have earnings coming up on November 4th, same day as Nvidia. So AMD and I think Nvidia, or Nvidia might be the day before. No, I'm sorry, that's not Nvidia. Palantir. It's Palantir. Palantir's on the 3rd. AMD's on the 4th. Whew, man, we got a crazy couple weeks. It's gonna be a good Q4. I'm not saying up or down, but I think just like trading wise, it's gonna be fun. This is the one I really want to take a trade on though. This is Palantir. I love setups like this when they start to wedge in like this. They become easy. It's just easy to spot the move. You just got to be patient and wait. You got a bull flag forming inside of an ascending triangle. You got trend as invalidation. If this thing pops and decides it's going to go, right? This would be my first target. Would be somewhere up here around like the 240s, 230s. Maybe it doesn't run that hard, but let's say it does run that. I mean, let's see what the risk reward will be on this thing. So you get a breakout retest, right? Pop a stop under here, target the highs. I mean, you can get almost a 3-to-1. Probably wouldn't even take a trade like that. Probably have a stop somewhere underneath back in here. Wouldn't risk nearly as much. But that would be like a swing play. You would take over like a longer period of time. It's not something you take on like a high leverage or anything. Need this BTC short to play out though. Still have a little piece of my short open. It's slow crawling down right now. We got this going on BTC. These usually break to the downside. So keep an eye on this one, little descending triangle. Measure move takes us. Look at that. Measured move would take us to sweep the weekend liquidity. I'm telling you, man, they're coming for this weekend liquidity. I was saying that on Saturday. I'm like, they're gonna take this. I think that's target plus the gap. Fill the rest of the gap. Yeah, dude, I haven't been following like the OpenAI stuff, but that's good to know. I mean, I think it's good that China's pushing competition in AI because it's gonna force innovation. Like competition is probably the best thing you can have in the market. It's like they get competition because you just can't have one company just running everything. That's why like Binance, we need like Coinbase to like really like up its game and start to compete with Binance on a different level. Because when one person runs everything, you see like what Binance did. They freaking flushed the books. They caused like mass liquidations everywhere because they were flushing things out on their books, or their their system failed and it caused like an entire market crash, meltdown. You can't have that. And if you got like one company like Nvidia holding like a monopoly on AI, what happens? Something bad happens. If Nvidia gets compromised or their chips get compromised, we're just gonna have like a global like crash in AI. Like that wouldn't be good. So you need competition out there, and it forces them to work harder, forces us to build. And it's gonna be a lot of work for construction, for energy companies. A lot of opportunities. Yeah. Anything else you guys want to see? Because I think I'm gonna get ready to wrap it up. I don't really have much else to talk about today. Quick look at others real fast. Yeah, others is coming down. I'm expecting more downside on these altcoins. Probably to sweep the weekend low. See, others has a lot to reclaim. You got liquidity all the way down here. So this whole section right here, that's all the weekend liquidity on altcoins. So I expect this to get flushed too. If BTC makes that move down and grabs the rest of it, I expect others to do something similar. It's about a 3-4% move for others. Could even come back down as low as this right here. It'd still be bullish. Come back down, tap this trend one more time, and then hopefully get a higher low in, and then I'll probably run it up from there. Or we'll do this and then bull market over for now. But you want to look at Swarm? Yeah, I got to. All right, so Swarm will be my last one, and then I think I'm gonna jump after this, get some sleep. Got a big day tomorrow. Just let me know if I'm looking at the right thing. Is this the right one, Bosco? Unless it's like a Swarm crypto, or is it Swarm, is there another Swarm? I don't see anything else. Oh, there it is, Swarm Node AI, right? Is that what it is? No, that can't be it. I think I got it right. Is this the one you're talking about, Bosco? It's like, looks like a dead coin. It's at like 0. Let me talk about Swarm AI. Let me see. That's the same thing there. SNAI. I actually used to trade this before. That's Poloniex. There it is. CLMXC. I used to trade that back in the day. A little bit of a low here, right? A little bit of a trend break. See what volume looks like. Alright, so we got a low volume gap up to this little consolidation right here. Stop short of it. Volume's like coming up gradually, but it's not like impressive. Let me see what the 4 hour looks like. 4 hours, yeah, 4 hours climbing. Oh, Swarm on Souls. Black dots. Let me see. So this right here, Swarm wrapped. That can't be the right thing. It's SNAI. I'm pretty sure it's the same thing. It's the one I was just looking at. Swarm node. Let me check it real quick on CoinGecko. Yep, this is it. It's Swarm AI, SNAI. Yeah, I used to trade this. I actually bought some at one point. I mean, look, it broke out. This little, you got a little bit of volume spiking up. It's not crazy, but you know, for being flat, it's not terrible. Volume spiked up before it had a nice move up. You have this consolidation. I think there's probably a POC up here, I would imagine. Or, oh, there it is, volume. So you're in a volume profile right now. That's it's rejecting off the value area high. I knew there's something up here. It's either a POC or a value area high. But, so I think the goal is for this thing to get back up. It wouldn't be crazy for this thing to come back down, retest POC, retest the trend. If it can hold, you can imagine it's probably going to make its way back up here. If it could flip, you're going to go attack this high up here. If you can flip this, the value area high. Let me see what the move would be back up to here. Oh, shit. It's 147%. I'm thinking that's going to be like a 20% move. No, that's a big move. Yeah. I'd look for, go down to the 4 hour real quick, see if we can find something on the 4 hour. So I'd look for the back test. I might even go down to the hourly. I'll look for the back test down here. Look for some of this to get taken because we're sitting right above a low volume gap, right? So if this trend right here, or like this little box breaks, it's going to determine the next direction. So it's ranging right now. If it breaks down, I'm looking down at like that 005 where this low volume picks up, back down to the POC and the trend break. If you can hold that, I mean, you got a good shot. It's probably could be a decent move here. Back up to the value area high. And again, if it can break the value area high, you got a decent shot of breaking back up here. back to that 0.16. Man, this thing got abused though. It got abused with everything else. Yeah, there's potential here though. There's potential. I mean, just for a short-term move, but that's like a big move, even if you're just trying to catch a little bit of it. Just curious. I want to see what all this price action has on there. Yeah, it's still the same thing. Still the volume profile. So, yeah, trade it like a range, dude. You got a range inside of a range here. I don't even know if you can spot. I don't even know where you can buy this. But yeah, you got this little range right here. So if this low starts to lose it, you're probably gonna fill the rest of the single print here. And yeah, that's kind of what I'm seeing on that. White background with black dots, one red. Are you talking about the actual coin itself? Like swarms, hold on, let me see. Oh, I see what you're talking about now. Okay, okay. What's the price? 0.15. Alright, I got you, bro. My bad. I should have probably paid attention. I'm just like TAing some coin and I have no idea what it is. Alright, so it's on Binance. I see it now. Oh, okay. Still looks like shit, to be honest with you. It still looks horrible. What is this? Looks like Italy, dude. It's like a little boot. Oh my god. Let me just see how far down this thing went. This might be a dead token, dude. Let me see what the volume looks like. Oof. Oh man. That's horrible. Alright, let's just go locally and see what's happening. Alright, so this is probably going to zero. We haven't broken trend in forever, right? So you got a little bit of a trend right there. And you're trending down on the downside. Like, and if you go inside of this, all right, you got a bear flag right here that's forming. Kind of like a little bear flag. So if it starts to break down from here, man, you gotta imagine they're gonna come take this wick. It went down to zero, almost zero on that last thing. I wouldn't touch this thing until it breaks out of this. So if you think this is gonna be decent, I'd wait for a breakup, man. Like that's the best case scenario. I don't know if even know if there's I don't even know if there's a road of recovery for this thing. Look at the weekly. What is that even? What is even that? That's ridiculous. But I guess if you were looking locally, right? So get rid of this top trend real quick. If you're just looking locally, you might have a little bit of a trend here. A little bit, right? So maybe there's a short-term play if you can pop out of this thing, right? Maybe flip some structure. Look for something back up to these highs here. I'd imagine when you get up here, though, you're going to run into a lot of resistance. Like, you see how it's just been chopping here before it dumped? Like, there's probably going to be a ton of resistance here. Yup, that's the POC. So, look, if it can break this trend, I mean, there's probably a move back up the POC. I don't know if I would take it right where it's sitting right at the moment. I mean, the value area low is right here, but hasn't really touched the value area low too much. It just, on the other side, it did. But I guess, look, if you break up, this is the next likely area for it to trade. So you just look for the move up here. Just mark it off a little box. If it does break up, that's where you're looking for the price to go. Let me see how much of a move that is. Like 24%. If it does make it back up to these highs. I mean, it swept all this liquidity too, right? So it took all this liquidity from this entire range with that wick right there. What has it grabbed to the downside? to me, it hasn't finished the move yet. Like, I don't think it's complete until it grabs this. And that's just the way I think. This down here. Like, that seems more logical for me. For them to come down here and grab more. Because all they did was stop midway through. Like, this is all stacked up liquidity. Sure, they grabbed most of it, and they're getting an initial bounce here, right? And maybe that's enough, and maybe they're going to run it up from there. But, like, this seems more likely that they're going to come down here and grab that. Just feels like it. This is all built up liquidity they can easily just come take. And usually when you sweep one direction, you usually go back the other direction, so pulling this volume profile. If we pull from a different area, it's different everywhere. So this is a tough one. Let me see if I run a trend from here. If this makes any difference. I mean, this says we're on the underside of the trend. If I look at it from this, just from this perspective, right? Let's get rid of all this crap. I mean, this is showing that we broke and we're now rejecting, and if we can't get back above this, it's probably going to come back down. So just keep, let's be careful with this one. Yeah, it's like a little Italy. Did it? Untrade it, please. Yeah. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna call it. Hey, if you're watching, like, subscribe. Check out our other channel. We do the podcast over there, Tactical Edge Trading. This is the Academy, or the Trading Academy channel. We do our lives here, but we do the podcast on the other channel. Check out our Discord. Check out our affiliates down below. You guys have a good one. I will probably be back on Thursdays. I think Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays are going to be like my dedicated days to stream. And, you know, if there's good price action in between, I'll definitely, you know me, I'll definitely jump on if there's good price action. But I appreciate everybody coming and hanging out. You guys have a great night. Later, y'all.